And when you say that everything starts with the mind, what do you mean in that factor?
Everything that you see in our physical world around us, aside from the things that are growing out of the earth, and possibly even those things, if depending on how you look at it, all of those things started in the mind of a creator. So if we look at something like even the phone or and the computer that we're communicating on, these things started as ideas in somebody's mind, and they conceptualized how these things could come about, and were able to combine the materials and do all these things that were needed right in the physical world for us to be able to do this. But everything started as a thought. So every aspect of your life starts as a vibrational reality. I like to think of it as well. So it's about the thoughts that you're holding in your head, your perspective on life, about how the universe should work for you, how life should work for you, the kind of experiences that you expect to attract. All of those things, in my opinion, lead to the type of quality of life that you experience in the physical.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Sticks and Convos for another episode. All right, this is episode 10 with my guy, Nick Strickland. Hey, I just want to let y'all know this is about to be a real good episode. I'm gonna tell you one thing: when I'm smoking on that Liga number 9, Pravada, you know, and then Nick Strickland, he's smoking on that earthly blessing, you know. So let's get into
Shay.
it. We got Nick Strickland here. He's from Atlanta, Georgia, the ATL. He's a powerhouse in mindset, real estate, and he's in the music industry as well. Hey, welcome, Nick Strickland, man. How you doing, bro?
Hey, blessings, my guy. Appreciate you having me on.
Tell the
As
people.
you said, my name is Nick Strickland. I'm actually originally from Colorado Springs, Colorado. It's about an hour south of Denver. I've been out here in Atlanta about 2 years now, 2 years this summer. So uh, just loving it, soaking up the culture, the weather, the women. Met a beautiful queen out here. So yeah, like he said, I'm into real estate and music and mindset primarily. Everything starts with the mind.
And when you say that everything starts with the mind, what do you mean in that factor?
Everything that you see in our physical world around us, aside from the things that are growing out of the earth, and possibly even those things, if depending on how you look at it, all of those things started in the mind of a creator. So if we look at something like even the phone or and the computer that we're communicating on, these things started as ideas in somebody's mind, and they conceptualized how these things could come about, and were able to combine the materials and do all these things that were needed right in the physical world for us to be able to do this. But everything started as a thought. So every aspect of your life starts as a vibrational reality. I like to think of it as well. So it's about the thoughts that you're holding in your head, your perspective on life, about how the universe should work for you, how life should work for you, the kind of experiences that you expect to attract. All of those things, in my opinion, lead to the type of quality of life that you experience in the physical.
That's dope, man. Yeah, I definitely believe the same because it's like none of this would be reality if it didn't start with the inception of the mind. You know,
You feel me?
everything as far as all the way up into what our mental capacity above that, a higher being. It always started with the mind of what can I create, what can be created. And it's fascinating how everything that we have, like things that just are so complex that was created by the mental state. So I definitely
And things from, like, it's easy to conceptualize it when you're thinking about like physical things like a phone, right, or an
yeah,
Xbox, a car, right? But even like more like non-conceptual things, like things that are a little bit harder to to picture tangibly,
yeah.
start like that as well. Just think about um, even this conversation, right? Setting the intention before we go into about what we want to talk about, what we want to accomplish, and the type of energy that
Mm,
we want to have,
yeah.
uh, shared between us is an intentional thing that starts in the mind, right? It didn't, this conversation, this whole podcast started with the idea, right? That you had years ago or months ago or however long ago that you actually had the initial concept for this thing. And all of that, the intention that you set in building it out, the intention you set in introducing yourself to me and starting a conversation with me at InvestFest, all of those things, like, they all started in the mind and led us to this moment of chopping it up on some grown man tips, some business, some some music and all different things, like are it all started as just a thought in your mind. And
Yeah,
someone
that's
decides
dope.
that they want to lose 100 pounds, right? Like that starts with a decision that they make, right? A conscious thought that they take out of their mind and manifest into a different body. Like, it's just crazy what our minds can do when you really stop with with the limiting beliefs about yourself, about what you can do, and you start to increase that ceiling of what you think is possible for yourself.
Mm. Yeah, that's powerful, man. I definitely grasped that concept because when we was at InvestFest, man, bro, like this man Nick was over here dripped out. It was
It's a
dripped out,
must.
man, and that
It's
energy
a must.
from there, that energy from there, man, just literally, I was like, bro, I gotta get like even like when you said, from InvestFest, like the mind, I was like, yeah, man, I gotta get this man on Sticks and Convos. So like I can see it. I can feel the energy, everything, man. So definitely, man, it's definitely a blessing. Where did
Hey, even not to cut you off, excuse me, but even you just to carry on about you talking about drip, right? Like, especially as melanated beings, like black gods and goddesses, like gold and copper and these fine precious metals have been a part of our culture for centuries, and there's a reason for that. Like you see, I got on a lot of copper right now, got
yeah,
on a little bit of gold,
yeah,
but these metals are conductors of energy. You feel me? And we are, as beings, we are conductors of energy as well, because I carry my energy around and let it introduce itself to different people, have
yeah,
conversations with people, right? Like, I'm just a non-physical energy inside this physical body, but the way that we are able to, as especially as black people, able to attract like-minded people is with the drip, is with the gold, and with the metals and different things like that that literally conduct energy. They say, have a conversation with me because this is where my mind is at. You feel me? Like, I think that's a beautiful thing. Physical representation of where somebody's mind is at, just with the way they dress. You feel me?
right. Yeah, it's definitely an expression. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I know for a long time for myself, like I never used to like wearing jewelry, go like, like I'll mess around having me a little sport watch, call it a day. I never liked to be flashy because I was like, I felt like I was like had that inner peace in myself, so I didn't have to be flashy.
That's
But
real.
as I learned more and more, it's like wearing like gold, like the celebrities and things like that are wearing like big iced out gold chains and gold gold everything. Trinidad James, what's up? But
Shout
I
out
never
Trinidad.
I never understood why that was, because it's like I didn't understand the vibrational connection with those type of precious metals. Now that I'm learning more about like, you know, the coppers, the golds and things of that nature. Like I love like gold frames, gold watch. Like I even wear like, you know, just like this jacket here, got the accents of gold. Just everything, just really trying to create that energy and absorb that energy. Um, I even like
Royalty, man, that royalty that this melanin comes from, like for real, like not to make to race thing, you know, we know what it is and we embody that. I think most celebrity go or anything like that, I don't think that they consciously know why they're doing it. We track gold and jewelry for centuries, like I said, from our ancestors, and it's because of the vibrational effect that it has, like in a physical reality. You feel me? Even if it just makes you feel a different way when you put it on, that affects your vibration. You feel me? It doesn't have to do anything like spiritual past that. You feel me? Even though I do believe it has metaphysical properties like gold and copper and things that like you could measure scientifically and like physically. Even if all it does is make you feel better when you put it on, that raises your vibration to a different feeling, right? Because all feelings are is just vibrations. So that if that allows you to bring a higher version of yourself into the world, then so be it. You feel me? Now, not higher like you think that you're higher than other people, but like higher as in more confident, more just feeling more godly, just feeling more in stepping in your power. Like if that's what that allows you to do, then you know, I'd say do whatever you can to raise your vibration to the highest it can be at all times.
right, most definitely.
Mm-hmm.
When you
Yeah.
talk when you speak about vibrations, just to, you know, for people who really don't even know what vibration is, like
Sure.
is that in a matter of like sound, or is it like and obviously sound is a type of energy. So can you expound
Mm-hmm.
on vibrations?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, everything is vibration, bro. We live in a vibrational universe. It manifests itself to us as a physical universe so that we can walk around in it. We can, like, our minds can perceive it, but literally everything is, even atoms. Like, I mean, it's hard for most people to wrap their heads around like the smallest like building blocks of life, but they're all just things like vibrating really fast, right?
Mm,
Um, like the difference between um like ice and steam, right? Is how fast the particles are vibrating, but it's still H2O, right? There's still two
ooh,
hydrogen, or what is it? Two hydrogens, one oxygen, right? It's still the
yeah,
same chemical makeup of particles. It's just how fast they're vibrating changes. That's why like friction, like just trying to break it down in the most simple things for people who's like still not agreeing with me. Like when you're trying to get something hot, you rub your hands together, right? You create friction, you get the particles vibrating faster, right?
right,
If something starts to cool down, it's because the particles in them are vibrating slower. Okay.
mm,
So just going off that, if even you and I and like this chair that I'm sitting in this house that I'm looking at, if everything from those things to sound and heat and Wi-Fi, like everything, all of those things are just different waves and different particles, different energies that are vibrating at different speeds. Some really, really fast so that we can like move through them like air, and some really, really slow that like create this chair that has like the perception of stability for me, right? That I can sit on.
right,
But everything in this whole universe is just different forms of vibration. So when I talk about my specific vibration, like I believe each person has an energy about them that, for one, it can be changed at any time, but two, it also has like a base state, right? So you and I, we both have our individual base vibrations, the way that we tend to act like on a day to day, like if just baseline that we're going to fall back to. And
right, right,
sometimes we feel elevated from that, sometimes we feel lower than that. But most of the time, like if you averaged it out, like you would come to some sort of like number or some sort of level, and that's what people call your vibe, your, you feel me, like your energy, like your aura. Like some people got a a kind aura to them. Some people got a happy, some people got a sad, some people are rude. Like, but it's all just how you're vibrating, and it's really all just about the thoughts that you're thinking, the thoughts that you're consistently telling yourself about the
Mhm.
world, about where you fit in the world, about what you deserve out of life, right? So somebody that is happy probably is consistently telling themselves positive thoughts, right?
Mhm.
They're consistently looking for the good in the situation,
Right.
right? Because those things are going to form their mood and their feeling and the energy that they give off the rest of the world, right? They're going to give off a happy vibe if they're thinking happy thoughts, right? You really don't too often find people that are consistently thinking sad thoughts that are happy, right? It just doesn't make sense.
Right, right.
Like your vibe is a combination of the thoughts that you consistently think. So um yeah, when I talk about raising my vibration, I just try to like really, I used to think, I guess, that it was about like going out in the world and like affecting other people,
Mm.
when really it's just about getting yourself right. And when you get yourself right, then you just naturally affect other people, right?
Mm.
Because
Ooh.
people want to be happy, right? They want to feel good. They want to be around other people that are getting shit done, that are living a great life, that are manifesting things into their reality. You feel me? So the more you do that, the more you focus on that for you, then the more you attract things that are like that from other people. You attract people that are like that. You attract situations that allow you to be that way. You attract good things that make you happy, like money and good people and good experiences. And it all really just comes from, like, in the most simple way I could put it, it comes from monitoring your thoughts and just and attempting to consistently think more positive thoughts and consistently find the most positive thought that you can in any situation.
Mhm.
And it's not easy. Like, it's way easier said than done. You feel me? Some people may listen to this and be like, "Oh yeah, it's easy for this man to say. He doesn't know about the things that I've dealt with in my life, or the things I'm going through currently, or my, you know, mental health issues, which I've dealt with all those kind of things that anybody could think about." But at the end of the day, just there's a perspective in every situation of like, what can I learn from this, or how is this making me stronger if it's something that you don't enjoy. And I just believe now that you can always find a positive like outlook on things, or a way to frame it in your mind that's going to allow you to stay like on that positive vibration, and not always just positive, but just um how do I want to phrase this? Because it's not about just seeing the world as just like rainbows and butterflies all day, but
Yeah.
about knowing how things affect you, right? So, say, let me put it in a real actual example. Um, Say you go through a bad breakup, right? Obviously, you want to give yourself the time to feel those emotions of like the sadness and the loss of love, because you don't want to just push those to the side and bury them, because everybody knows those things will come back,
Yeah.
right? But once you've taken the time to feel them, and you become aware of the fact that you're still feeling these, like, your mind is going to a place that makes you feel negative, right? When
Right.
you become aware of that, and you're not just feeling it and not just letting your mind just do whatever it wants, then you can take control of it and realize, okay, these thoughts, these feelings, they don't serve me. They're not how I want to feel. So what perspective can I find amongst them that is going to allow me to turn it, right? And it may not be the first day you break up. It may not be, it may be a month later. Your
Right.
higher self is always going to give you the amount of time that you need to just process whatever. So if it takes a week, if it takes a month, if it takes a year, that just is what it is. But then at some point, you have to make the decision that you're gonna find the positive in that, find the learning moment, like that, something about yourself, taught you about what you will and will not tolerate, what you will and what you do and don't deserve, right? And so now you can go out into the world with a higher vibration of this is what I deserve, and I won't settle for anything less because I know my
Respect.
worth. I know that I deserve to be loved. I know that I deserve somebody that's going to respect me the way I respect myself. Like all these things are things that we have to learn just through like bumping our head and going through shitty relationships and tough, tough experiences and stuff like that. But they all contribute to you just like, adding a little bit more self-worth, self-love, compassion for other people, and all those things, raise the kind of vibration that you put out into the world, the type of energy that you put out into the world. So hopefully that wasn't too long-winded way of explaining that, and it made sense in some fashion for some,
Man,
whoever.
it's definitely bars, man. I appreciate the explanation because a lot of people don't understand, that the like you already alluded to anyway, like the mind, it starts with the mind. So like anything that you're trying to do, like basically the mind is going to navigate in that factor. I like that you said that the piece about self-respect and creating your boundaries of what you're going to tolerate, not tolerating things like that. But one thing that we don't talk about is like respecting ourselves, like because we disrespect ourselves more frequently than other people disrespect us. Like we don't do what we say we're going to do. We're going to get up when we say we're going to get up. We ain't going to complete that task when we said we was going to complete it. So it's like
Man,
we basically we bend our principles when it best fits us in whatever situation that we're in. So like I like that when you grasp that concept of respect and things of that nature. uh it starts with the mind of respecting ourselves so that when we go out in this world, others will understand our boundaries, and our boundaries is clearly laid out because we respect our boundaries ourselves. So
man, that's a great point. Um, that makes me think of two words in specific. Let me talk about real quick about manifestation,
bet, go
right?
ahead, let's
Because
go.
that's like a real hot topic right now, right? Everybody's talking about manifesting, right? But a lot of people don't know what it really means. I'm gonna
Okay.
just give my perspective on what I think it means, and it involves one other really important word, which is integrity.
Mm,
Now, most people, I think, when they think of integrity, they think about doing the right thing, right?
mm, yeah.
Which in my mind, integrity, that's not what it means. Integrity is about doing what you say you're going to do, right? Integrity is
Mm,
is being a person of your word, right? So when we're using that definition, that integrity is not necessarily about doing the right or the wrong thing, but about doing what you said you're going to do. And then we look at manifestation, how people talk about, speaking things into existence, right?
yeah.
I believe that the universe uses our integrity to determine how seriously it should take our manifestations and the things that we wish to speak into existence. So, for instance, if you're the type of person that says that they're going to do something a lot but doesn't follow through,
Hmm.
right? You say you're going to wake up at a certain time, but you don't. You say you're going to be somewhere at a certain time, but you don't. You say you're going to do a certain thing, but you don't do it. The universe is watching, right? It's unbiased, but it's observing you because it is you, right? And it knows that when you say you're going to do something, usually it doesn't happen. That's
Hmm.
just it's not playing favorites. It's not saying, well, I'll still give you what you. It's just like looking at the facts.
Right.
9 times out of 10, when you say something, it doesn't get done. So when you say, I want $1 million, I'm going to be a millionaire, I'm going to manifest $1 million into my life. Why would those words hold any weight? If you
Mhm.
can't even if you can't even stick to going somewhere when you said you was gonna go,
Mm,
doing what you said you was gonna do in your job, why would your words hold any weight with the universe? They don't, right? Until you prove that they do. And the way that you prove that they do is by following through on the things that you have control of, that you can actually do, and having integrity of your word. When you say, like, I mean, you said be here at 7 o'clock. I said, okay. And I was here. And so when I say I'm going to be somewhere, it holds weight. It
Right.
actually means something. It's not just words that just don't mean anything, that just I just spoke and they just flow off into the wind. It's like they mean something.
Right.
They establish a meeting. They establish a task. They establish a, you feel me, and they actually get something done that we can physically, that like a physical manifestation. This conversation is a manifestation of your integrity and my integrity, of us agreeing to be here at this time and doing what we said we were going to do. Neither of us ghosted each other. We here. You feel me? And so we manifested this conversation. You
Yeah.
feel me? And it's
Yeah.
physical. It's happening. You feel me? But that doesn't happen if neither of us has integrity in our word. If we don't have integrity in the word and we just like say we're going to do something, but we don't do it, it doesn't. So the same concept can be applied to big things that feel a little bit more out of your control, like becoming a millionaire or manifesting a passionate, loving relationship into your life, manifesting a better relationship with people that are already in your life, right? Family or longtime friends, like all those things. I think it stems back to having integrity in your word, actually doing what you say you're going to do. So then when you speak, that shit holds weight. You feel me? I
Yeah.
am a millionaire. When I speak, the universe shakes because it knows that I'm not playing. Because
Yeah.
when it knows when I speak, I don't play. It just, it has like, it has a track record to go off of. You feel me? Of little tiny things, little commitments that I kept. Now, I'm not saying I'm perfect. You feel me? And I'm getting better at it. You feel me? I miss dates. I forget things. You feel me? I'm human. But the more conscious you can become of that, and you can actually take steps to know that, okay, even if I break it and get like, even if I say I'm gonna go out for drinks with my friends and it comes the Friday night and I don't really want to go, so I just cancel, like those things kind of add up in my opinion. You feel me? So don't do things that you don't say you're gonna do things, or don't say things that you don't mean, because the universe is taking note and is like, nah, he don't really mean that. Because usually when he say stuff, he's just bullshitting type shit. You feel me? I mean,
Right.
I don't know if that's the way it really works, but that's the way I like to see it. And I like to think that when I speak, and when I speak, when I manifest it, it holds weight, and that it actually turns into physical things.
That's dope, man. That's dope. There's a Japanese proverb that states, "Be careful what you tell yourself, or be careful what you say, because the inner warrior is going to be lessened by it." So if you tell yourself negative, you tell yourself negative things and things of that nature, it's going to be lessened by it. If you tell yourself positive things, if you say you're going to do something, you're not going to do it, it's going to be lessened by it. And it's going to continuously, if whatever coin side of the coin that you're going to be on is going to get stronger. The warrior is going to get stronger, or the warrior is going to get weaker. So I like that a lot. I like that integrity part, because for me, I know I'm a man of my word. Like if I say I'm gonna do something, it's gonna happen. I'm gonna do it. If I say, that if I don't respond, I'm still thinking about it. I'm still thinking about what I'm going to say, because I don't want to say something in vain, and I'm not going to be able to live up to what I say. So yeah,
Facts.
it
Facts.
definitely resonate with that wholeheartedly. Um, so what
And see, when you, that word right there, that word you say you resonate with that. Resonate is a word from music, right? We'll touch on music in a second, but resonate is a word that comes from music, which means that you hear it, that you vibe with it, that you feel me? So you're picking up the vibration of that. You resonate with it. Like I love that you use that word choice. So
Yeah,
continue that.
most definitely, man. Um, so like you said, we're gonna speak on music in a minute, but as far as the mindset thing, have you always been have you always been mentally strong in this factor? Like where did you start? Where, like, how did you start? How did you get on this journey of mindset and creating your mental strength?
I love that question because I love the story. No, definitely have not. Definitely have not. Um, for me, my mindset journey started, I believe it was about at the end of 2018,
Okay.
and I was, I've been doing music for a long time now. Been trying to, manifest a come up, so to speak, and increase the number of fans and listeners I got to turn into a career, right, and to be able to monetize it. And for a long time I just been working jobs and just like kind of just getting by financially, not really thriving. And but I've always had big dreams financially. I always wanted to have a lot of money to be able to provide for myself, for the people I love, to do great things for the world, right, give back, all these things. So I always know that was possible for me, and I don't I don't know where that comes from. Um, I really just my inner being, my source, just from birth, just blessed me with just that ability to see that potential. A lot of people can't even see a higher potential for themselves, right? But I was reading this book, it's by Dean Graziosi, Millionaire Success Habits,
Say
and
that
I was like,
again. Say that
I was like, I
again.
know million. It's
Sorry.
it's called Millionaire Success Habits. Yeah, Millionaire Success Habits by
Billion
Dean
Success.
Graziosi.
Dean
Mm-hmm.
Graciosi. Okay.
Yeah, Millionaire Success Habits. And so I was like, I know every millionaire reads a lot. I just need to start reading more books, right? I don't even know what inspired me to pick it up. But I read the whole book, and then at the end, you can basically call and you can talk to one of his mindset coaches and basically get in like their mentorship, right? And so I kind of had the mindset at the time, like those kind of things were scams, and like, it was probably not worth my money if they were asking for money to coach or whatever. But something told me just give them a call. And I ended up talking to this lady and basically explaining to her that like my money was funny. Like my pockets was a little bit hurting to be able to do what they was asking me to do at that time. Like I
Yeah.
think they was asking for a band, and I had just paid all my bills and covered everything, but I think I had like $1,200 left. Like I was like uh, everything is good for the month, but I can't just come out my last band, because where am I gonna get it back from? It's basically with the mindset that I was.
Yeah.
And she told me something that was really like still sticks with me to this day. She said, "Why don't you spend the money and then go get it back?" And
Mm.
I was like, um, I was thinking, get it back from where? Like I don't have any. At the time, I was doing videography, like freelance. So I was like, I don't have any jobs like on the books right now. I don't have like I can't just. What do you mean get it back? And she was like, I was like, I'm gonna think about it, right? And she told me that she thought I had a lack mindset, and that was
Mm.
the first time I'd ever heard of that concept. A lot of people might refer to it as a scarcity mindset,
There's
right?
an insight.
But I'm sure a lot of people, a lot of your listeners have heard that concept, right? Lack mindset or abundance mindset, right? So she
Yeah.
told me that I had a lack mindset. That was the first time I had ever heard that, and I was like thinking, the fuck you mean I got a lack mindset? Like,
Yeah.
you feel me? Like I just did not get it. And now looking back, like I just totally understand, of course, what she was talking about. But she did something really powerful for me. She let me go without pressuring me into the course because she knew that vibrationally I wasn't ready to receive the money to come back to me anyway,
Mm.
because of how I was thinking. But she sent me an email and she gave me 4 ebooks for free, that I could read. And she was like, I would start with reading these books. She was like, to be honest, I don't even think that you're mindset wise that you're ready for our mentorship, and I wouldn't even want to coach you right now. But I want you to read these books and see if they do something for you. And I'm sure I had a little bit of resistance at first, and it took me, maybe a couple days or a couple weeks or maybe even a month or two to actually dive in. But
Yeah.
the first book was called As a Man Thinketh. I forget the author. It's James somebody. It's an old book though. It's an old book, very very popular book. As a Man Thinketh. Um, and that was the first book, and then there were a few other books that were around mindset and basically just explaining that the the life that you experience is directly correlated to how you are thinking internally. And I just didn't really understand that at that time. I thought that life happened to me, right? I thought that things happened to me. I was like, oh, why me kind of person? Like, oh, like I just felt like I had a victim mindset, right? Like people would do things to me reason I feel the way I feel is because of what other people are doing. Like
Yeah,
I just, was
yeah,
kind of fucked up in my perspective like that. And so uh even to this day, I'm still not where I want to be. But now 4 years later, like I can see such a big difference in the way that I see how other people treat me, the relationships that I manifest, the pattern. Like when I see a similar type of person showing up in my life, I know that it's something that I'm doing that's attracting that kind of person. Like if
right,
I want to cut that person out, it needs to start with me. It has nothing to do with the other person. It's only has to do with me because I can't control other people. I can
right,
only
right.
control Nick Strickland. You feel me?
Yeah,
So, um, and I believe that ultimately that's the way that people who are successful in this world, like however you want to define success, people that reach any level of success or happiness is because they made a decision to take accountability for their own life. Like to not
mm,
blame the outside world for what was happening to them or their money or um, their relationships or any anything like that, physical sickness, pain, like all of that stuff. Unfortunately, like some people might not want to hear certain things, but everything stems from how you think about life, and you attract every single situation that you've experienced.
I like
And
that word. I
you
like
know
that word.
like I said, it's
Decision.
a long time coming of like to fully understand that, because I'm sure I don't even like grasp or believe instances, right? When you lose a loved one or you get sick or, the world is going through COVID. You're like, I didn't manifest COVID. COVID just happened, right? But how are you responding to what's happening?
How you
And
navigate.
what are you manifesting from there?
Yeah,
You feel me? Like that's what separates the men from the boys in this world, really. Like the people that are happy and successful and manifest the life they want from those people that just kind of let life happen by default, you
yeah,
know, is that mindset shift.
yeah. I definitely. There's a couple of things like I love that you said. You said decision. Like I I was watching this guy named Myron Golden. Like he's phenomenal. Go check him out.
You
Myron.
said Myron
Yeah,
Golden.
yeah.
Okay.
Myron
Very
Golden. He is like he's like the coach's coach. Like he's crazy. And what he taught me was that there's two sides of a coin to every situation. There's no such thing as a one-sided anything, right? So whatever it is, like so for instance, COVID, all right, we were stuck in a house, we couldn't go nowhere, it was illness struck everywhere all over the world and things of that nature. So looking at the tunnel vision lens, we only see the negative side of it. We only see like what was going on in the world, but let's look on the other side of the coin, right? We get the chance to spend more time with our family. We get a chance to reset our mental habits. We get a chance to eat healthier. We get a chance to make more money online. Like this was the biggest boom of making money online in the last
remote jobs and
ever.
all that. Yeah,
Yeah, ever.
ever.
So it's like, coming up with the metaverse and all this other stuff.
Man,
So it's like, let's look on the other side of the coin. That really changed my mindset forever. There's still gonna be times like, man, forget this, man. Like, this is crazy. But
it's hard sometimes, but
yeah, yeah, yeah. So he really changed my whole perspective in that aspect. So um uh let's move on to uh the music and uh tell me a little bit about like the music that you make, the genre that you're in, and things like that. Because I know you said because you in the past we was talking where the vibration, like the vibration of music that you like to create is a direct reflection of
yeah.
how you feel and things like that. And that's what music is typically like how somebody feels in that moment when they're creating that track. So like what kind of music that you're into or what kind of music that you like to create, what genre and things of that nature.
Yeah. So first off, I go by Benzo the Code. That's Benzo
Benzo the Code.
Dacode. Benzo the Code. Yep, I'm on all platforms everywhere. YouTube, Apple Music. It's a little shameless plug for anybody that want to peep.
Oh,
I recently, about 2 years ago, changed my name, and I used to go by Malcolm Z. And if you see this copper piece I'm wearing right now, this is Malcolm X. And Malcolm X is like a really, really huge inspiration for me. I read his autobiography like right at the end of college, and it just really changed my life. So at that time, I made a lot of music that was like politically charged, like that was about what was going on in our community. I also made a lot of like sadder music because I was depressed.
mm,
So I made what I was feeling at the time. Um, but when I started to get more conscious of my mindset and how it was affecting my life and the things that I was experiencing, and started to realize that, you know, that even though I felt like I had depression for a long time, that I wasn't going to let it dictate my life and write my story, that I was going to take control of it. Um, I realized that because I spent so much time making music, that was feeding into like what how my vibration was, right? Because
yeah,
music is like, you know, people that say they don't meditate, like they do. Everybody meditates.
yeah,
Everybody gets into a state to where their brain is kind of off and they're just receiving. That's what meditation is, right? The only thing that makes meditation, quote unquote, different is when you can do it just listening literally to the universe, like listening to outside or listening to, and you can actually get like a download, like listening from the source.
yeah,
But people that when you listen into whoever you listen to, like your favorite artist, like they're speaking into your life. You feel
mm,
me? They're talking to you. And your brain is usually shut off from creating a whole bunch of new thoughts and just receiving what you're hearing, right? And it's even more intense when you're singing it along because you're saying it back with them, right? So
right,
if you're
right, right.
saying a lot of things about a lot of negative things and you're doing that a lot, it shouldn't be surprising to you that you're manifesting negative situations into your life, right? Because you're speaking negative words a lot, you're thinking negative thoughts, but the key is that you're actually letting somebody else do it for you. The
Program.
artist say, here's what I think, and listen to it and think this way, right? And we know that it's evident when we see, you know, white kids from the suburbs talking about gang, shoot them up, all this bullshit that we know that they ain't never experienced, right? But they're saying it back, right? Or people talking about just anything, in terms of, because I didn't mean to make it racial necessarily, but
No, that's
we just
all
see
we.
the effect that
Yeah,
music has on
yeah,
we see the effect that music has on people, and how it can take somebody that has never experienced violence and have them saying violent things, right? And
right.
eventually, if you say them with enough conviction, you start to feel them. Once you feel them, then that's when you manifest those kind of things into your life, right? So some people don't ever get to the point where they feel them, they just say them. And that's why they're probably the type of people that don't manifest strongly in general, because they say a lot of things that they don't resonate with strongly, right? That
Yeah,
they don't feel. They say just a lot of things.
yeah.
So um, I started to realize that the type of music that I was making was affecting my brain, and I realized that even earlier,
Say that
because when
again.
I
Say that
first
again. Say
said
that
the
again.
type of music that I was listening to and the type of music that I was making was affecting my brain and how I saw about the world. Like, it was not some trivial shit.
Yeah, yeah,
It's not just music. It's really affects, like, changes your brain chemistry. You feel
yes,
me? Because it's just thoughts. You're just
yes,
feeding your brain different thoughts, right? So I was like, well, why not feed my brain thoughts that are positive? Why not talk more and make songs more about the things that I want to happen versus things that I don't want to happen, right? Because if you're focusing on what you don't want to happen, you're just focused on that thing still. So you're going to attract that thing.
Yeah.
So you have to focus. You can't focus on what you don't want to happen. The changes, you have to focus on a new want, a new desire, right? Like I want it to go this way. So I was like, I want to feel good. I want to feel like I don't want to feel depressed. I'm gonna stop writing about being depressed. I'm not depressed. I'm gonna start writing about being happy, about being abundant, about being triumphant, about being a god, about being a strong, deliberate creator, about having a lot of money, right? About having um, certain things in my life, like and I've just been watching them manifest, and it's cool
Yeah.
to just see the difference that it has, and then to be able to put that out to inspire other people to feel the same way is my main like passion behind it. And to be honest, sometimes it's tough because sometimes you feel like things don't get perceived the right way, or they don't, like, you put out music and people don't get it the right way, or it doesn't like do the kind of numbers that you want it to do or whatever.
Yeah.
And like ultimately I know that these songs is just for me, so at the
Mm.
end of the day I didn't make them for nobody else. I
Mm.
made them to help get me through what I need to get me through and to get myself to the next mindset level. But at the end of the day, it feels like if it was able to do it for me, then it feels selfish for me to hold that back from somebody else that could potentially have the same effect on. You
Right.
feel me? Because even if 10 people say that it's trash, but one person is like, "Yo, this changed my life," then that was like, I think all creative people, a lot of creative people would agree that, like, we call it a gift for a reason, right? When we can do something creative, like when we can make music or when we can play a sport or something, we call it a gift because we feel like it was given to us,
Right. Right. Right.
right? We don't feel like it's like I created this. Like a lot of time I feel like I just am writing songs that already existed, but I just got to be the one to like find it. You feel
Right.
me? But I didn't write it. I just found it. You feel me? Because the source, like God, the ultimate creator, life, like whatever you want to call it, that created it. You feel me? If it has the right kind of energy, like life created that. I just got to find it. I just get to experience like bringing it into existence, but it was given to me. You feel me? So I feel like it's something that I can give back to hopefully other people. You know, they can listen to it and get a similar effect as me. And I love, like, I think you asked about genre, and that was like long way around to answer the question. But
No,
it's
perfect.
like
Perfect.
it's rap, it's hip hop, it's R&B. Like it's a blend of trap. You feel me? All the shit that we love, like modern rap music, but shit taking out the drugs, the gangs, the misogyny, the you feel me, and replacing it with thoughts of higher self, of getting money, of spreading money, of love, of abundance, of finding a queen, like finding companionship, like of loving the world, like all those things are the things that I think that rap overall we we're missing right now. You feel
Yeah.
me? Because and I know why. And it's not at any fault of my brothers, because a lot of my brothers are making music from a place of pain and from a
Mm.
place of hurt. You feel me? And they don't know nothing different. We
Yeah.
haven't been privileged in this country to know different. Like, it's a privilege that I even get to think about how can I manifest a better life for myself, and not have uh a massa that is making my physical reality hell. You feel me? I have a I have a more abstract massa maybe in the government, but at the end of the day, I can sit here, I can smoke a little something, I can get my mind right where I want to get it. Like, I'm free in my own backyard. Like, so I don't take that for granted, and still not all of us ain't out the plight. You feel me? Ain't out the struggle. So, and most of the pain is a good, like, generator of great art. We know that, right? Like,
Yeah.
sadness, pain, hurt, violence makes great music. It makes
Right.
great art. So it's not surprising to me that because we've experienced so much pain, so much hurt, so much violence, that we make some of the best music on the planet. But
Mm,
now it's time to change that because we're conscious of how it's affecting our minds and how it's keeping us in the same place. It's
yeah,
our responsibility to change that and to change the topics that we're feeding into our music, and more importantly into the music of like the youth that's coming up. You feel me?
yeah,
Because they're the most susceptible. You feel me? Like somebody that's my age may not ever fuck with my music because they're already in the mindset. They like what they like. But a kid, you feel me? My nephews and nieces that love my music, you feel me? Like they're getting an alternative of something that sounds like some shit that they would hear on the radio, but it's also like talking about some abundance and some positive mindset, some manifestation, some meditation. Like, and I love that I'm not the only one that's on this wave right now. Like, just in in the way I would expect it to, from the way I know the universe works. Like, there are a lot of like-minded artists that are getting on the same wave as me right now, that that are making music that's more uplifting to our minds. And I love to see it as Black people, of us being conscious of like what our music is doing and
right,
taking control of that shit, and refusing to be victims, and knowing that it's on us to obtain financial freedom for ourselves, for our families, for our own community. And that starts with us thinking better thoughts, getting out the streets as much as possible. You feel me? Avoiding the law, like not glorifying getting caught up with the law, you feel me? But glorifying starting legit businesses, you feel me?
right.
Glorifying eating better, glorifying doing yoga and working out, and you feel me, meditating. Like, it's beautiful. It's beautiful because that's what's gonna take us to the true freedom that we like. We say we still ain't free in this country. Like, as long as we leave it in the white man's hands, we ain't never gonna be free.
Right, right, right.
So it's up to us to to take it into our own hands, and I see us doing that, and it's just lit.
That's definitely dope, man. It was one piece that you had said. I'm glad that you have a level of self-awareness where you knew that the music and the information that you was receiving started to alter your way of thinking. And you was like probably like the same way it happened to me like 2 years ago. I'm listening to, all the trap rappers, all the talk show rappers, things like that. I'm not gonna name no names, but I was like, why am I thinking like this? Why I'm feeling like this? Like outside of
Why am
listening to
I feeling
my
like
music.
this? Exactly,
Yeah,
bro. You can feel yourself start to
yeah,
like. I'm feeling angry right now. I'm feeling hype.
right.
I'm feeling like this
Like
pain. Like, why
why am
am
I
I
angry?
choosing to feel like this?
Why I'm feeling these emotions? Like this ain't me. This is like, this ain't me at all. So I was
And
like,
sometimes it is. Sometimes, all those emotions, they have their time and place. Sometimes, we're not trying to cut out all negative emotions, because negative emotions are important for us to feel, because they let us know that it's something that we don't like. They
yeah,
help us learn a lesson. They help us get closer to what we do like. Like, life is all about contrast. But when you just like stay in that same vibration day in and day out, day in day in, or you put yourself there when you don't need to be there, it's
right,
it's not conducive to getting money and being happy, in my opinion.
right. So like for me, like I had to really reevaluate what I was consuming. So I started consuming a lot of podcasts, a lot of audiobooks, a lot of rappers who were, you know, uh rapping about something, like for instance, like Christian rap, right? Like it has evolved tremendously from where it was to now. So it's like even Christian rap, even like like my favorite rapper is Kendrick Lamar, hands down. That's just me. Um, but like
Respect it. Go.
and second in line for me, obviously people are gonna have different rappers, but J. Cole, like those are the top two that
Period.
I would like stay up to midnight to make sure I hear that drop on Apple Music. So what are your favorite artists that you like to listen to?
I second those two. I mean, I think if we're talking the greatest of our generation to do it, like my personal favorite is Cole.
Okay.
Um, since like the end of high school, Like Cole's been my guy since I remember hearing Who Dat on 106 in Park. It was like
Yeah.
they're like, you remember when they used to do like that new music Friday or something like
Yeah,
that.
you showing your age, man. You showing
And
your age. These
and
young folks don't know nothing about that.
I'm showing my age a little bit. You feel me? Hey, but yeah, nah, I fuck with my nigga Cole, and you're funny for that, bro. And yeah, 106 in Park was a minute ago, my nigga, a minute ago for real.
Real, man.
But yeah, so Ace Hood is another one of my favorite artists, like for a long time, and I feel like he's another dude that like flawlessly does like he talks the street shit when it's necessary, but he also is like he's been with the same woman since high school. He talks about and affirms his queen. He talks about, you feel me, meditating and doing yoga and like being a good dad. You feel me? Like he talks about things that people don't talk about. You feel me? Like real life shit. Like not everything
All right,
is is like drugs and trapping. Like there's
all
so
right.
much more to life than like you feel me
Yeah,
than
yeah.
just the things that we tend to fill our music with, honestly. And shaking ass. Like there's so much more to life than shaking ass. Like
Oh yeah. What's up?
there
Yeah.
like we all love a good ass shaking song. We all when the time is right. You feel me? But the time is not every day for shaking ass and selling drugs. Like sometimes we're running a legit business. Sometimes we're chilling with the family. Sometimes we're meditating. Sometimes we're showing ourselves love. You feel me? So but yeah, there's another artist out of Florida. His name is Kasky.
Mhm.
A lot of people don't know him, but he's a dude I've been following for a long time too. That's a tremendous inspiration to me because I kind of see the same kind of progression in his mindset with his music. He talks a lot more just recently about God and staying away from negative things and you know drugs and popping pills like he used to and sipping lean and all these different like things like about drinking water. You feel me? And
All right.
starting businesses with a good woman. You feel me? Like so. Yeah, I think that even though Cole and Kendrick and who else are some of my other favorite lyricists? Shit, Royce the 5'9",
Mm.
um, Black Thought.
Black.
Um,
Yeah.
shit, I love battle rap too, so I listen to a lot of battle rappers. Uh, and so I like some of the music I make is like real lyrical, like real just bar heavy, and then other music I make is like real. I mean, I can't say that like I'm not inspired by Migos, you feel me? By damn Thug, by Gunna, by Roddy Rich, you feel me? Like sonically, like the niggas know how to make a song that is
Yeah.
beautiful. You feel me? Like that just ride. You feel me? That just hard. Just
Yeah.
so for me, it's about like people think that artists like Cole and like Kendrick when he on his Pimp a Butterfly shit, like they think that artists like that are boring sometimes. You feel me? When they're talking about financial freedom, when you're talking about positive things like it. So I like to try to combine like like that trap kind of sound, Metro Boomin, like kind of production with like just more conscious, deep lyricism that like let somebody that is um deeper mind, like some even if it's just a wordplay, like some I love, that you can, oh shit, I didn't know he was trying to go there. He connected this and that, and you feel me? Like that's just something I
Yeah.
love in music. That, like I said, kind of comes from like the battle rap culture. You feel me?
Right.
Double
Right.
entendres and triple entendres and making shit. You feel me? Plays on words and stuff like that. Just giving somebody a new because that's what makes it stick in your head. You feel me? When
Yeah.
somebody says like the reason that we all remember like when I ask you what does fear stand for, what does fear stand for?
Fear stands for basically something that you are not comfortable doing. You have a anxiety towards it. You have
Not like that the acronym though. That that popular
oh
that popular acronym.
I
You
never heard
heard
of
that?
the acronym of fear.
Okay. So this is something you'll probably remember
Yeah.
because it hits. false evidence appearing real.
Say that again. Say that one more time.
Right. So fear. This is not. I didn't make this up. I've just heard this.
Yeah.
It stands for false evidence appearing real. So when you're fearful, when you think it's talking about when you're like when you're worrying, you feel me,
Yeah.
about things that could happen, or fear is false evidence appearing real, right? So the reason I remember that somebody told me that, I don't remember who told me that, but I remember somebody told me that, is because it's clever, right? It's a play on words. It's like, oh, it's an acronym. It makes sense based on the letters in fear, so it's easy to remember. You
That's
feel me? That's
bomb.
the reason people like. You feel me? That's why reason people like acronyms and like little like word plays. Like we all got taught PEMDAS in school, right? We all remember PEMDAS because it helps us remember. It's like you got to put letters to the words, like some kind of. You feel me? So
Yeah.
that's the same. That's the same with rap. Like we love like when somebody finds some way to say something clever. You feel me? It's just like it makes it stick.
Yeah. That's dope, man. I've been missing enough to say these last three artists that I like. A cat called Toby Weeway. He cold blood. Toby Weeway, he cold blood. Man.
Oh yeah, he goes. He's
Um
crazy.
him
His visuals and his whole like aesthetic, just like, and how he be showing out with his wife. His wife be rapping.
his
Like,
family. Oh my
no,
god,
they're
bro.
cold. They are a cold fucking family. Like
Right.
the whole family is nice.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out them. Shout out
uh,
them because they be
Definitely
clean as
shout out
shit
to
too.
them. Next will have to be JID. So this is my top five: Kendrick, uh,
Period.
J. Cole,
Cold.
Leeway, JID. Got to put him on.
Yeah.
Got to put him on the lid. On the
Yes,
lid.
sir.
And then lastly, D Smoke.
D Smoke is crazy.
D Smoke.
Smoke is crazy as well. Yeah. I literally told my business partner like when that first Black Habits project dropped, like his first album,
Yeah.
I was like, this is the project that I wish I made. I
Yeah.
was like, this shit is
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Like I
Perfect.
just from just like sonically to the melodies to the wordplay and the depth of what he's talking about, the skits, like I was like, bravo, he nice, he nice.
Definitely dope. Yeah. So that's my top five. So let's transition over to real estate, man. How we talk about mindset, we talk about the music. How did you transition to real estate?
Um, Music kind of brought me to real estate as well. To be honest, in a lot of different ways. Now that I'm thinking about it, even I really started with real estate at the beginning of the pandemic. So like right at the beginning of 2020.
Mm,
I had a partner that actually, so one of my good brothers that I moved out to Atlanta from Denver
mm,
with. Um, his name is Jonathan Nicholas. He's a dope videographer out here, cinematographer, director of photography. Um, Him and I were living in Denver at the time, and he knew somebody who had just moved to Denver, like one of his high school friends who was starting a business surrounding wholesale real estate.
mm. Yeah.
And so at that time, right before that, I was working a different sales job. I've always been in sales, and I was kind of getting disrespected by my boss, and I quit and was like, you know what, I'm just gonna focus full time on music. I had some ideas, some music saved up, some ideas for some singles and some projects and some visuals, and I was like, you know, I'm just gonna go all in on this music shit. Um, and right at that time, I got presented with this other opportunity to do real estate, and I kind of felt like a crossroad. I was like, man, I've always known that real estate is, you know, people make money in real estate, but it was a way that I could get into it without having any experience and without having a license. And so, and at the time, he was talking about all this money I would make. He was talking about, man, at the time he was like 20 bands a month within your first 3 months. I was like, obviously it kind of felt like cap, you feel me? But at the same time, it was from coming from people that a friend of a friend, right? So I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? I kind of felt called to check it out. I was like, you know, if it doesn't go, I can go right back to my old plan. Like nothing changes. So then the pandemic hits, and still, I mean, really, it was like, so that was in January that I decided to start. So it was like right at the beginning, niggas were starting to talk about it, but it was still something that I could do virtually, and so I was just stuck with it. And so, long story short, like wholesale real estate, just to put some people on game as well, is basically, in my opinion, the best way to get into real estate if you don't have experience or money, because it really just relies on a lot of hustle. So wholesale real estate is basically, uh, you're like a middleman in between people that need to sell their home in like as is condition. It's like a rough fixer upper, or they need to sell it very quickly. They need to sell it for cash as is without going through the whole process of listing with a realtor. um, you connect people like that with investors who are buying properties for cash as is, who can close in as little as 2 weeks, 10 days, 7 days in some cases. You feel me? Those people are not like most people that need to sell their house in as is condition. They don't just know somebody that has the money that can just buy it, that
Yeah.
knows what to do with it, right?
Right,
And
right, right.
so they rely. Not what I found out through doing wholesaling is that pretty much, like, imagine if you're a real estate investor, Bobby, and you got M's, you're sitting on, you're just waiting to place them into real estate. Are you cold calling people to find out if they want to sell their property? Probably not. I'll
No.
answer it for you. Probably not, because your time is valuable, right? You're not going to sit on the phone cold calling people who 90% of them are going to say no, right?
Right, right, right.
So you rely on wholesalers to bring you deals because you're not going to do it yourself. So
Right.
wholesalers do the hard work for real estate investors. And I'm pretty much finding out through my experience that unless you have a team built out like a wholesale company for yourself as an investor, you rely on other wholesalers, people like myself, to bring you deals. So these investors, these people that have money that they're looking to sink into real estate, unless it's a big like a iBuyer, like Zillow, or like Open Door or something like that. There's a couple companies out there, but for the most part, like We Buy Ugly Houses. Sometimes you might see a bandit sign. That's usually a wholesaler. It's usually a wholesaler that is basically marketing to a homeowner that needs to sell their property as is. So basically learned that you can position yourself in these deals and you can make money by just connecting this seller to somebody that will buy their house as is. So say I'm talking to you, Bobby, and you need to sell your house and you need to sell it for $150,000. And I say, okay. And I find one of my investors and he looks at the deal, and based on how much money he can make from the deal, he's willing to pay $170,000. Now there's $20,000 in the middle
Yeah.
that goes as what's called an acquisition fee that the investor will pay a wholesaler or my company to bring them that deal, to do the hard legwork of marketing to find these deals basically. So
So
um
are you, not to cut your wisdom, are you so in the beginning, are you with a company, or are you just are you doing this individually?
yeah, so let me connect the dots. Thank you for bringing me back on track. So I started with this company, and basically they're like, we've been doing this forever, we got all these systems in place, right? Because you have to have a lot of like software to be able to do it, right? Basically a lot of systems in place and a lot of know-how to be able to do this exact process. So they're like, we're going to teach you how to do it. So I started off just cold calling, and then I'm like trying to figure out this process, trying to learn about real estate as well, and they're kind of teaching me some things. But throughout the process, as time goes on, I'm just realizing that they just talk a good game. You feel me? Like they just had some money and they talk a good game, but they hadn't actually been making money in this business. They
Mm,
just knew theoretically how it should work.
mm,
So I'm starting to realize like yeah, you got some more bread than me, but we're pretty much at the same level, like trying to learn this at the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
And just for the amount I was getting paid, the amount I was making, the amount they led me to believe that I was gonna make, it just wasn't hitting like that. But something told me to stick with it because I was learning an important skill.
Mm.
So this
Say
is how the
that
universe
one
is.
more time. Say that one more time. Say that one more time.
Period. Period. Some told me to stick with it because I was learning an important skill. So I probably
Mm.
made all through the pandemic between January and when I moved to Atlanta um in July. I probably made with that company working full time. Probably made like $7,000 in
Mm.
like that's like 6 months, right?
Yeah.
So that's a lot different than 20 bands a month. They're telling me, right? But like, so I closed a couple deals. I saw some perspective. I saw the potential of it, but we had some things fall through because legally they didn't know the right way to go about it, and just some different things. It was just a learning curve, right? So um also, God blessed me with some of the other people that I started working with was hella cool as well, and so they kind of motivated me. Like, we kind of all was learning it together, you feel me, in this company that was like kind of a pretending to be a bigger company than they were. Basically
Right.
is what it was. And so, but we fucked with each other and we saw the potential, so we grinded, you feel me.
Yeah.
So they basically told me, this is when I found out that they was all cap, because they basically told me that they knew I wanted to move to Atlanta from when I was hired. And so this dude basically told me that he was going to open up another office doing exactly what we're doing here in Atlanta, and that I was going to get to manage it when I moved out there. Um, and he was going to help me build a similar team and just like all these different things, right? And so his ass fell through. Long story short, it was just a whole bunch of just a whole bunch of shit that I was just really shouldn't have been believing, but I was just like I said, I knew the potential of the business model. I was like, I know people are making money doing this, even if it's not these motherfuckers. Like, I know people are making money doing this.
Yeah.
So the way the universe brings it full circle is because the reason I left my job in 2019 is because for the whole year I had planned to shoot my best friend's wedding. He got married on a cruise in the Bahamas at like November 2019, and I do videography, so he asked me to be the photographer for the wedding,
Yeah.
and I'm like real cool with him and his wife, and they're my best friends, right? So this whole time, like all through 2019, my partner James, this dude James, he's been doing, he's been trying to figure out wholesale real estate, and I kind of knew that, but when I got involved with this company, I didn't know it was the exact same thing.
Mm.
So come full circle when I come to Atlanta, and I realized that basically I got to figure something out because I don't have the job that I thought that I came here, the income that I was gonna have. Um, I He had already been doing the same thing basically we had been doing the same thing all year, just not really knowing. You feel
Mm.
me? So
Yeah.
we talked about our experiences. Like, we could actually start a company just doing it, you and I. And so that's what we did. And now 2 years later, we do it full time, and my girlfriend is employed by us. We have two other employees. We're about to hire another part-time employee this week. So yeah, things are thriving, and we basically just figured out how to do exactly what this company was doing for me, for ourselves, so we could take the whole check instead of getting a commission for it, because I was just getting a 10% commission. Feel me? Now we're getting all the whole money. You feel me?
Yeah.
So, and now we're transitioning like short-term rentals, like Airbnbs. About to get an Airbnb at the start of this next month, and then wholesaling just really leads you really to do whatever you want next in real estate. Whether you want to get into fixing and flipping, whether you want to get into buying and holding, like the Burr method, like buying, rent, and like renting, rehabbing, repeat. That's what Burr stands for. If anybody on here is interested in real estate, they might have heard of the Burr method. That stands for buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. So that's like the strategy of like passive, like the most popular passive wealth, or like semi-passive wealth strategy in real estate. Versus fixing and flipping is more active, right? You're rehabbing and selling the property and then buying another property and rehabbing it and selling it, right? So the burr method, you're holding for a longer period of time. But all that to say that if you start wholesaling, you understand the fundamental um, key component in real estate investing, which is finding a good deal. It all starts at the seller, at
It,
finding somebody who is willing to sell their property at a discount, ultimately to accommodate either the speed they need to sell it, or the condition that it needs to be sold in, or um, maybe they have like liens on the property that need to be paid off before they sell. Maybe they're in pre-foreclosure and they have back more. All these different kind of things are situations where you can't just always just list your property with a realtor. People think that you can
right.
just always just call up a realtor and list it. You got to pass inspections. You got to have an appraisal. You got to do staging, showings. That shit takes time. Sometimes it happens overnight. Sometimes people get lucky, and if you got a really nice, badass house that's immaculate, that shit might sell in 7 days in this market. But if you have a fixer-upper, even listing it on Zillow is going to take time. Big money investors ain't combing Zillow for deals. They're relying on wholesalers to call them and say, "Hey, man, I got a good deal over on this street that I know you like. What do you think? 170 cash." That's how it's done. Like so, uh, so yeah, it just opens the door for you to, if you understand how to negotiate a good deal, right, and how to accommodate a seller out of a bad situation or out of a situation, get them their money in a timely fashion, right? Get their house sold in bad condition, then you understand kind of the fundamental piece. And then if you want to fix and flip a house, now you know how to negotiate the best deal. You might not even need a wholesaler. Now you save an extra $20,000 that you were going to pay in an assignment fee. You put that in your pocket because you know how to establish contact with the homeowner yourself. You feel me? So
Right.
it really opens the door. And now it's just led me in, like, now I'm into multifamily real estate as well, looking at like apartment syndications. That's like my next like goal in real estate, is to be part of an apartment syndication, which is just like a whole nother rabbit hole. Is some whole other shit, but I wouldn't know about it or wouldn't be interested in it if it wasn't for getting involved with wholesaling.
That's dope, man. That's dope. I like the fact that you said you when you was in Colorado, or you said Denver, Colorado, and you was working with that company, you stated that it was capped, but you stayed there so you can learn different principles and things of that nature of the game. So a lot of people don't have that type of mindset to like to stay there when things are not as cute or not as what they seem to be. I always say you're going to be bad at it until you're good at it. So you were
Man,
bad at it for a long time, or you was coming up, you was paying your dues within the industry until you was actually good with it when you linked up with your business partner. So that's
man,
definitely
it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't overnight for sure. I mean, that's the thing that people like lack the most, I think, and that want to be successful with something, is just persistence. Like you just want it to happen overnight so bad. Even 6 months is overnight. Like if you've been grinding at something every night, every day for 6 months, still keep going for another year and a half, and then talk to me. You
yeah,
feel
yeah,
me? Like until you hit like the two year consistent at something
yeah,
point, at least, like bare minimum. Some, depending on what industry is, like you might be looking at 5 years and then talk to me, 10 years and then talk to me. Like people just want shit to just happen overnight, and
yeah. Put that work
like
in.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
put work in. That's
that
dope.
working for real and stay consistent for
Talk to me
for a
about
long period of time. And then it pays off.
yeah. Sorry about that.
No, you good.
Talk to me about team building, right? Because when you're starting out, you're doing all this stuff by yourself. You cold calling everybody. You're trying to build relationships. They fall through. Like, tell me about the team building. Like, I'm assuming that you have somebody designated to do cold calling all the time, so you can link up with these investors with, link up with the house with the investor, and that's when you step in with, negotiation of the deal, stuff like
Right.
that, and connecting with your realtor attorney so that they can finalize the deal, so everything's legalized and stuff like that. So how did you create the team, or how did y'all, as a company, create y'all's, go-to people and your team and things like that?
Really, it's just we kind of let it happen naturally. We did a lot of the work ourselves for a long time. We first experimented with hiring somebody about um, like springtime of 2021. So we had been grinding at it together for about probably like 6 or 8 months. We had closed a couple pretty good deals, but we were still under the impression that like really like nobody is gonna work as hard on your business as you are, right? So if you're hiring somebody, there's always gonna be a little bit of drop off between the level of passion and the level of commitment that is done between how like you would do it yourself, right? Because it's not their business, it's not their dream that they're building.
Right.
Now
Yeah.
you may find somebody that actually does a certain task better than you, and that's the goal. You always want to surround yourself with more competent people at certain things, but at the same time, in the beginning, when you don't, especially in the beginning, you gotta really know how to do the hard things yourself to be able to know what kind of level you expect somebody to do it at, even, right? If you do want to delegate. So we tried to hire somebody. We hired like a VA in the Philippines to like do some cold calling for us. And
Of course.
basically we kind of, because we felt like we had paid our dues for a long time. We had done a lot of cold calling. We kind of, to be honest, we took the foot off the pedal a little bit and kind of were happy to be like letting her do most of the cold calling, and she was cold calling full time, and it basically just resulted in kind of like a drop off of a couple months of productivity because we just weren't as hands on with it. You feel me? We were kind of waiting for the leads to come into us instead of just being active. So we went back to the drawing board. We was like, you know what? We need to commit to actually just grinding ourselves for a little bit longer until we understand a little bit different perspective. And so it was probably not until like the beginning of this year that we really started hiring people again. And we just basically set a goal for ourselves of a certain like financial goal because we didn't want to have, we wanted to hire, we basically said that we wanted um, to be able to pay all the people that we needed for 6 months without getting a deal before
Mhm.
we put them in place. So
Mhm.
once we hit like 6 months worth of payroll, basically that we had saved up from deals, then that's when we knew that we could take the time to do the training and to implement other people, to bring other people on board and expect a little bit of a drop off
Yeah.
while they're getting up to speed. You feel me?
All right.
Um, and so yeah, we've used some different like we use some different agencies like different virtual assistant and cold calling like agencies like companies that place that basically attract and recruit cold callers and virtual assistants and things of that nature, and then they bring them to us and they present them to us and say here's three good candidates, you get to interview them, and do any of them work? And so they use we have some different people. One of our cold callers, his name is Joe. His name is Alberto actually, but he goes by Joe. But he lives in Mexico City, and he's a cool ass dude. He was actually born in Denver, so it's crazy. He's like from the same place that I lived, like in Aurora, Colorado. Like
Yeah.
he was born there, even though he lives in Mexico now. Um, but and so he's an American cold caller, and we have some other like VAs and like virtual assistants and stuff like that. And then the main other component is, like I said, my girlfriend is actually employed by us. So she started off like in a role like doing some certain kind of like text marketing for us, and now we're like training her up basically to be like our like lead manager. So she had some a lot of experience with like hospitality and customer service and things like that.
Yeah.
And then she was working from home during the pandemic, like during the last part of well during last year. She was working from home doing like a remote job, and so basically, we got to the point where we were blessed enough to be able to actually provide her like a consistent, like we can actually pay you a consistent wage that you can like bank on. You feel me? You're not like
Yeah.
making a commission and like hoping that you're gonna get some money. Like we could pay you hourly the same amount that you're getting paid with your job right now. So while we were looking at hiring people, it just kind of made sense to. She was already kind of like uncomfortable with her schedule and things of that nature. So it already made sense just based on her skill set and what she was doing, um, to kind of go into the role that we needed. And now she's moving into a new role. So, I could definitely attest to like a lot of successful people. Like I hear Steve Harvey talk about a lot. I hear just like a lot of successful people talk about the benefit of, having a good woman and building with a good woman, that like women will invest in your dream with you and they will help you build. You feel me? They'll, you know, a lot of time when they love you, they can see your vision with you, or they can at least have a level of faith that's equivalent to yours. Even if they don't see it, they can have like a blind level of faith in you that
Right.
like, hey, I know my man is gonna make this shit happen. You
Right.
feel
Right.
me? So it's been a huge lesson, getting to incorporate her into the business, because
That's dope.
she's very loyal. She's very loyal and obviously extremely intelligent and extremely competent. So um, that's not obviously something that everybody has the ability to do. So I guess in terms of giving advice, in terms of building, I would say, always build with a significant other if you can, but don't ever force a relationship like that just based off of, just thinking you need it for business. Like it should be genuine first, but know that there's value in that. But patience is just the biggest thing. We just spend a long time doing the work ourselves, waiting for the right, pieces to come into the picture instead of trying to force it. Um, we went through several cold callers and several assistants that didn't work out, and we were just patient enough to know that it's going to take some time to get the right pieces in place. You're not just going to
Right.
put out one ad on Indeed or hire one person on Fiverr and they're going to be the perfect person. Like you're going to have to, go through some different people and show that persistence in order to attract the right kind of people that are going to be loyal and are going to show the right kind of level of dedication to your business that you would, like I said.
Most definitely. That's profound,
Mhm.
bro. That's definitely profound because it takes time, man. It takes time to build a business correctly instead of cutting all these corners and doing, what the fad is, what the industry is doing or whatever the case may be. It's definitely, I commend y'all, I commend you on that factor of just
Appreciate it.
being patient and knowing that you grinding and keeping that foot on the pedal and not being deterred when things not going the right way, like like y'all did, like y'all went back to the drawing board, like, hey, we're not getting the results we need to get, so hey, let's tap back in, let's go ahead and get these
Mm-hmm.
the way we was getting it, and
Man,
let's do it.
I'm t- that shit was painful too, honestly, because
Hmm.
like when we decided, hey, because me and James both really, I'm going inside because it's getting a little dark. Me and James is both, kind of a little bit more introverted in a sense.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
and so we like, we did what we had to do with cold calling, but it's not our ideal thing. We don't just love the cold call.
Yeah, yeah.
But we knew that it was a necessary component. I don't know, thankfully, Joe loves the cold call. He like, and there are people out there that like communicating with people like that, and they're happy to get paid hourly to
Right.
a consistent, good way to do that. But you also, like I said earlier, you have to know how it's done correctly
Mm,
to really know what to expect from somebody, right? If you don't know how to cold call yourself, how can you coach somebody that's having trouble and not giving you the results that you want?
mm,
Or how do you really even know what kind of results to expect? Like you can't really until so. I mean, most of the people that we've learned from, learn wholesaling from, like Brent Daniels is a dude that we've learned from a lot. Max Maxwell, shit, Flipman Ty.
mm.
I think that they're all gonna say that before you hire cold callers, you should at least cold call yourself for a certain amount of hours because you just have to understand what you're expecting somebody to do, and you have to understand the expectations surrounding the business, what the conversation with the homeowner is supposed to look like. um, you should at least study it. You should at least study it in and out. If you're not going to make the cold calls yourself, you should at least know exactly, the hundreds of different ways a conversation could go.
Right.
And you can't really know that until you've had hundreds of conversations or thousands.
Mm,
So, yeah, you got to do the tough work. But then I also, this past year, I think I can't remember if I read it at the end of last year or the beginning of this year, but I revisited Tim Ferriss's book, The 4 Hour Work Week. I don't know if you've heard of that book.
mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, most
but
definitely.
I had read it a while back, and something told me to revisit it. And he's got so many great principles in there about how to automate a business and how to maximize the efficiency of your time. And so that gave me some good perspective going into our next round of, like, okay, how do I delegate properly? That helped a lot, just in terms of, you know you have to know definitively what steps lead me to um my
Certain-
positive result,
Yeah.
right? So you have to know your numbers in and out. We keep, you know we we keep really detailed KPIs, like key performance indicators. So we
Right.
track how many leads we get every day, how many offers we're making every day, how many contracts we're sending out every day, so that we can look back over several months and say, okay, if we want to scale from here to here, we need to, if we want to go from 3 deals a month to 6 deals a month, and we're making 20 offers a week right now, we need to make 40 offers a week. And it's simple. You feel me? And
Yeah.
if I can only make 20 offers based off of the number of cold callers I have, then I know that I know when I need another cold caller, right?
Right.
Is when I'm trying to get to the next milestone, because I know exactly what steps in my business it takes for me. I mean, we know down to, we could probably stand to recalculate it because it's been a few months since we calculated it last, but we know down to within a couple $100 how much it takes us to generate a deal. And that's just, you have to know, we know that when we invest X amount of dollars based on paying a cold caller, based on, you know, the list that we buy and the software and all these different things, it's going to take us about, if we invest 5 grand, that should be this many deals, right? So, and then we just keep keep analyzing it, so that we know when it's, when the people we have in place are working like it's been working, or when it's tapering. If you don't track your leads, how do you know when you're getting less leads than you were getting? Like,
Yeah.
you feel me? So you gotta be meticulous at the very least about just knowing this all the individual components of your business, and what it actually takes to be successful in it. From the type of software you need, how to optimize it, to the type of people you need in place, to the type of people you should be calling, to the type of people you need to connect them to how to find them. And then once you know all those pieces, then you can decide, okay, well, here's the pieces that I'm especially good at, and that I haven't found somebody that's as good as me to do yet. So I'll uh, keep doing those myself. And then once you find or attract, or go out and look for whatever, somebody that is up to your satisfaction level of, like, okay, I feel like I can hand this task over to them, then you can do that, but you have to know which tasks need to be done, right? What it all takes definitively. I think a lot of people. I think it's easy to you know to do a lot of things and not be conscious of everything it really takes to be successful, right? It's like
Mm,
it seems like it's just cold calling, or it's just but it's like there's a lot of individual steps that if you're gonna scale and you're gonna own a company, you have to know each individual component, from how to get your data the cheapest, how to and the most accurate, to which software is going to give you the best delivery rate, to the laws surrounding cold calling and SMS. This is just in this particular business, but in every business has got a set of things that's going to lead to the most efficient way to success, and that's just from watching other people, not trying to you know reinvent the wheel too hard. You feel
yeah,
me?
right,
Just looking at what's worked for other people, and then also thinking, okay, what's one way that I can innovate? What's one way that I can do something a little bit different than I'm seeing it done, that can separate me from, that can provide a higher level experience for my customers, or that can make getting in touch with my customers more efficient, or that can make my follow-up process more efficient, or something that can kind of separate you from what everybody else is doing. And then you just continue to kind of tweak and innovate like that until you have it optimized to where you set your goal. But I think that brings us back on the mindset, because if you don't know what your goal is, which starts with just the thought of where do I want to go, you don't know when you're there,
right,
right?
right,
And you don't know what to make to change where you're at. Now you just, I mean, you better be, if you don't have a goal, you better be comfortable with where you're at. You
right,
feel me?
right, right,
Because if you're trying to go somewhere but you don't know where, then you're gonna spend a lot of time just moving in a direction that may or may not be right. It might be right, but it also might be completely opposite. Now you got to backtrack versus knowing, okay, we know definitively the level of income that we're trying to hit next, why we're trying to hit that level of income, the amount of deals that'll take for us to get to that level, the amount of people that we need in place to get to that. And then, you know, we have something to work toward, and we know when you know, we know when we're not on par with that. You feel me? And we can make adjustments versus not knowing how many deals we're trying to get in a month. You just get however many you get, and then you just better be happy with it. Versus having like, okay, we need 5 this month, and we know the steps that we can take. We don't always get 5, but we know the steps that it typically takes for us to get 5, or for somebody to get 5,
yeah,
and we did those this month. It may only resulted in 3, but next month it'll probably result in 7,
right,
just
right, yeah,
off the strength of the number, right? It'll even out, but it's about knowing what steps contribute to that goal, and then just doing what you can take care of. There's certain things that I can't. We had a couple of deals this last month fall through, just based off of homeowners changing their minds at the last minute, and that's something that we can't control at all.
right,
Like, ultimately, if somebody doesn't want to sell the property, they change their mind and they want to do something different with it, hold on to it, and whatever. um that's their prerogative, and we can't force them.
yeah,
But we went through all the steps. We got the contracts, right? We reached out to them. We found out what their pain points was and what was motivating them to sell, and how we could best help them. We talked to them about the kind of pricing that we could offer, and went out and saw the property, connected them with, we did all the steps that we need to do. So all we can do is what we can do, and then just kind of leave the rest in God's hands, or whatever you think is outside of you that is controlling the rest of the shit that's going on.
most definitely, man. I like that. I like how you explain it. That's major bars. Knowing your numbers to that, to that detail, to know, okay, if I do this action, I'm gonna get this result. Where the key steps to get to a particular destination. I think a lot of business owners don't take the time to really understand the numbers, and they just go off the feeling of I have a business, the feeling of I'm doing all of these things to run and operate the business, but don't really understand the key aspects of how to get to different milestones within their business because they don't have the particular model or steps to get to that level. One thing that Denzel Washington said
Yeah.
that I was this was very interesting. Don't confuse movement with progress.
Right.
And it's like if you're doing a lot of movement, you can do a lot of movement standing in place, but it doesn't necessarily mean you want to get from point A to point B. So I like the fact that y'all really understand y'all's numbers, and even to the point where y'all bringing on employees, what they're doing is going to lead to what result. Um,
Hmm.
what investment did I make? You make, you do a $5,000 investment on lead generational uh, materials or whatever, and how many leads. So you say you get, you spend $5,000 on leads. At least 10% of those leads is going to turn into actual conversations and negotiations, and from
Right.
there is going to be another 10% that uh
Man.
is going to lead to actually closing the deal. But the things that you don't know, as far as like you said, the buyer decides they don't want to sell at this point, that there's going to be a certain percentage of those particular people that you negotiate with that's not going to fall through. It's not going to go through all the way into completing that deal. So I really like that. I really like it makes me smile. It makes me happy that when you're talking to a business owner that actually understands the key principles of business, and it all starts with the numbers. If the numbers don't make sense, then the business don't make sense. You just have a hobby of doing whatever you're doing. So I
Which
definitely
is
appreciate.
okay. Which is okay. But you gotta be honest about it, and it's easy to see. Like you said, the numbers don't lie, and makes it easy. Makes it so that you don't have to have the guesswork. Like
Right,
if it was
right.
just based off the feeling, like you said, then there would be no way to really ensure business success. But if you're always following the numbers, and then you'll get there. You'll get there.
Most definitely, most definitely.
Yeah.
Let's uh let's wrap up. Let's lead this off with a word of wisdom, a phrase of wisdom. Here in Sticks and Convos, we like to have our guests, give our viewers a word of wisdom to basically inspire and motivate to rethink their habits or rethink their mindset to navigate to a point where they need to start thinking about. So what word of wisdom or phrase of wisdom that you want to leave the viewers?
Um, I truly think that the people that are successful in life, however you define success, they only got there because they did not stop whatever
Mm,
they
say that again.
envisioned.
Say that again. Say
They,
that again.
I truly believe that really the people who are successful in this life just got a goal in their mind, and they were relentless until they got it. They just would not accept no for an answer, and they just kept trying and kept trying and kept trying. Like I had this boss a long time ago that basically like kind of screwed me out some money, and so I resented him for a minute, but he also taught me one of my favorite quotes of all time, and it was in this sales job that I have, and he used to always say, "Persistence overcomes resistance."
Mm,
And see, that's one of those little things because it rhymes that it
mm,
sticks with you. Like me as a bar head, like that stuck with me because it rhymes. It's like a bar,
overcome.
and
Things. Mm,
just keep going. That's my advice to anybody. Just keep going. Just refuse to give up. Like remember that you know people that invent great things, they fail 9,999 times, and 900, however many times, 999 times. And it only takes one time where you got to succeed. You feel me? It only takes one time where you got to succeed. So just keep trying, keep going, refuse to believe that you can't make your dream happen, because you can make it happen. You just got to be persistent as fuck.
That's dope, man. That's bars right there. That's bars, man.
Hell yeah.
So where can we find you on social media? Nick, aka was it Benzo the Code?
Benzo the Code. Yep, you can
Oh,
find me on all platforms: YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, as Benzo, BENZO Code, and that just stands for like just to leave people that's wondering as well, and let this resonate. From this great book that I read by Joe Dispenza, I learned that you've heard of a benzodiazepine, right? Like the drug, right?
yeah.
Xanax, Klonopins, right? These are artificial drugs that have been manufactured by us, but our minds actually create these same chemicals when we enter certain states of meditation. You can enter basically delta and theta levels of meditation, to where your brain begins to transmute certain like melatonin and serotonin into these drugs, these natural sedatives. That's why meditation is a calming type of thing. It's similar to how our brain operates when we sleep even. So basically that just resonated with me when I read that, and I was like, I feel like I want my aura and my music to just be a natural drug, a natural high. You feel me? And then the code is like to decode something, to break it down. You feel me? So Benzo the Code, just trying to decode myself, unlock my highest self, and help other people do that in the process.
That's dope, man. There we have it. Benzo the freaking Code, man. Like that's cold, man.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate everybody. I appreciate you, Nick Benzo the Code. Like I definitely appreciate you for hopping on and just really just getting into the thick of things, man. Shout out to you. Hey, go follow him. Go follow him on all platforms. Tap in if you have questions about mindset, music, real estate, whatever. I'm pretty sure this is not even scratching the surface to the level of intelligence.
Man, give me back on episode 50. Give me back on episode 100. You feel me? We'll keep unlocking. We'll keep breaking down the code. You feel me? But bro, I appreciate you as well for holding this platform. You feel me? For holding this space, to allow me to talk about things that I'm passionate about. Like, super cool. I appreciate it, my brother.
No, always. Hey, tap in. All right, y'all. I'll catch y'all later. And Sticks and Convos. Make sure you get a good stick and have a good conversation. All right. Peace.